Same as it ever was. 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 Once in a lifetime. Okay, this series is called The Gospel of Rock, and we're going to talk about this song, this immortal song by the Talking Heads. Came out in 1980. It's called Once in a Lifetime. They were known as a new wave band. They were based in New York. It was produced and co-written by Brian Eno, and he had a lot to do with the sound of it. They were very influenced. The band was very influenced by Afrobeat musicians like Fela Kuti. Apparently, was one of the most famous, or the most influential for them, inspirational. They developed the song over time through a lot of jam sessions. Apparently, the song was not a huge hit when it came out. Apparently, it was not the biggest song, although it has become that. It is ranked in 2021. It was ranked 27th on the 500 greatest songs of all time by Rolling Stone, which says a lot, actually. And it was on their album Remain in Light. It was actually the big song on that album. Robert Palmer actually played a little part of it in it. He added some percussion and a little guitar, but they changed it. When they went back to New York, that was in the Bahamas, and then they changed it when they went back to New York. It was like early looping and sampling, according to Byrne. Before that, it became very, very big later. And the last part of the song, interesting enough, is they were very, I guess, a lot of New York musicians, even to this day probably, but even more so back then, were influenced by the Velvet Underground band from New York, fronted by Lou Reed. And we've talked about Lou Reed's song "Rock and Roll," but that last part of the song, which is very moving, they bring in that just those the three chords in the truth, D, C, C, G, what I was just playing, same as it ever was. That actually came from the Velvet Underground song What Goes On. Anyway, there's more to say about this. I'm going to talk about the lyrics in particular, and maybe the deeper message. This channel, this series is called The Gospel of Rock, and we're talking about the salvific aspect of music, especially rock music, classic rock music, and this definitely is in that. Even though it's like the new wave of the 80s, it's in that era. You could say it's punk new wave, but it's really what now it's considered classic rock, and it's played probably almost primarily on classic rock stations, and this is also considered probably the biggest song by the band. Obviously, there were some other ones that were also big hits, Psycho Killer, and I have to say, I always appreciated David Byrne and the Talking Heads. I was not a huge Talking Heads person. I was into other groups, but I appreciate them more and more. And I just watched Stop Making Sense for the first time the other night with my wife, and we both thought it was really cool. That is also something to watch. That movie is. They did an amazing, almost flawless performance. I mean, I didn't see any flaws, so flawless to my eyes. It was like brilliantly executed. Every song had a choreography. David Byrne's choreographies are epic. He has his own way of dancing, and it was just really cool. So worth watching. Anyway, but I didn't think the version that they played, some of the versions that they played live were extremely true to the studio versions, but the version that they played of Once in a Lifetime was not quite the same, and it's hard. I'm sure it'd be hard to duplicate that live, but David Byrne did do some of the other thing you got to watch is the music video. This is considered to be one of the best music videos ever too. He does do some of the stuff that he did on the video in live. He did some of the same choreography that he does in the video. Anyway, we're gonna get to the lyrics now. And one thing I was not aware of, it had to be pointed out to me, was that the David Byrne, the way that he sings the lyrics of the song is he's taking the tone of a preacher, like an evangelical preacher, and I never figured that out. But it's pretty obvious once it gets pointed out to you that that's what it sounds like. And you may ask yourself, it's kind of like Martin Luther King almost, like, I have a dream. And you may find yourself living in a shotgun shack, and you may find yourself in another part of the world, and you might find yourself behind the wheel of a large automobile, and you may find yourself in a beautiful house with a beautiful wife, and you may ask yourself, well, how did I get here? And then, so that's the first verse. The chorus, letting the days go by. I never knew it was letting the days go by. Let the water hold me down. Letting the days go by, water flowing underground. Into the blue again after the money's gone. Once in a lifetime, water flowing underground. It seems to be evoking something deeper. This whole song is evoking something below the surface. The water is symbolic of the subconscious mind, or the unconscious mind, and what goes on below it. And those who are maybe more sensitive to the nuances of the mind, and are more questioning sorts, they're more aware of these the deeper dimensions of things, and it could be you. Obviously, it probably is you because you're listening to this. And these are all questions that we have, and maybe one of the biggest question that doesn't maybe get asked enough is who is running the show, and if we get into that place of wonder, the more we get into that place, we just wonder about, what on earth is going on here, and how is this all happening, and what is happening. Second verse, and you may ask yourself, how do I work this? And you may ask yourself, where is that large automobile? And you may tell yourself, this is not my beautiful house. And you may tell yourself, this is not my beautiful wife. Letting the days go by, let the water hold me down. Letting the days go by, water flowing underground. Into the blue again after the money's gone. Once in a lifetime, water flowing underground. Now, it doesn't, obviously, none of this makes complete sense. Stop making sense. Doesn't need to make sense. It's evoking something deeper, and generally those songs that don't make complete sense are the ones that can take you deeper. So thank you, David Byrne, for that. Same as it ever was, same as it ever was, same as it ever was, same as it ever was. He says that 8 times. It's a good number. Water dissolving. This is the bridge now. Water dissolving and water removing. There is water at the bottom of the ocean. Carry the water at the bottom of the ocean. Remove the water at the bottom of the ocean. Again, does not make complete sense. Maybe David Byrne did have, there was a meaning in what he was saying there. Now the sound of the music does evoke water as well. Just listen to it and you'll see, if you haven't recently or at all. Okay, then the chorus again. Then and you may ask yourself, what is that beautiful house? And you may ask yourself, where does that highway go to? I don't think the highway was in here before until this moment. Or was it? Well, the automobile, right? Where does that highway go to? And you may ask yourself, am I right? Am I wrong? And you may tell yourself, my God, what have I done? Now, he doesn't say you may ask yourself. He says you may tell yourself, my God, what have I done? That's interesting too. It's not a question, it's a statement. It's a declarative statement. My God, what have I done? Letting the days go by, let the water hold me down. What does the money have to do with it? Well, the money was to buy the house and the automobile and the beautiful wife. So the money's gone. After the money's gone. I'm not trying to be a stand-up comic, but it might help. If you want to send me some money, you can. But time isn't holding up. Time isn't after us. Same as it ever was. Same. Now this is the very end now. The very end. Well, I watched the video for the first time in many years the other day. The original video that came out in 1980 it was just at the beginning of MTV, right? And it was huge. It was one of those videos that you never forget. Although I kind of forgot it and I had to watch it again. When I watched it again, it's a brilliant video, especially the end where it brings in the crazy David Byrne doing all the, wild gesticulating and dancing, crazy dance moves. And then you have the serious David Byrne, saying same as it ever was. And I got goosebumps watching it again. Same as it ever was. Now, David Byrne was young. The whole band was young. They were kids at that time. They were in their 20s, probably, right? Late 20s. They had started as they were just, they were just having fun playing music, and then they started playing out, and people started to come, and more people started to come, and suddenly they were, becoming a thing, and they were and then all of a sudden, and they probably, this song maybe is a song about them and about their rise to fame and fortune, and how did this happen? How did this all happen? We were just few kids out of art school, and here we are in New York City with a major record deal, and now we're hitting it big. Now David Byrne, I've been reading they're why the Talking Heads are not together anymore. And if you listen to the other side of the story, um, I believe his name is Chris France, and Tina. I'm gonna say her name wrong, I'm sure. What Weymouth, um, who are married, are feel that David Byrne, they couldn't work with him anymore. I don't want to go into the whole thing. That's something you can look up if you're interested. And David Byrne seems to not go there, at least not publicly. Personally, I think David Byrne, they were all brilliant musicians, obviously. I'm watching the concert video. Obviously, they're great. They're all brilliant. David Byrne, clearly, master songwriter. This is like, this song is just absolutely masterful in terms of the lyrics. The music is a whole nother thing, but the lyrics and the way that it ends with that, same as it ever was. Brilliant. It's really brilliant. And the things that he says here at the end, time isn't holding up. After the rain holds up. The rain holds up, but time does not hold up. Then a twister comes. Here comes a twister. What is a twister? I don't know, the end. The end of the song, right? There's some kind of twist that he's alluding to there. But again, there's the water, there's the rain, there's the twister, there's the acts of God, so to speak. And I think you could look at it in that respect, that the water represents the divine here, and the other stuff is the human element of we get so caught up in the material world and material possessions, the car and the house and the family, and we forget, we lose touch with nature, and we lose touch with something primal, and also something, and we lose touch with our own soul. We lose touch with the deeper dimensions of our mind. And that's, this song is it's a pop song. It's a pop rock song. It hit the charts, and it's in our popular consciousness, and it's doing a number on us somehow. It's it reminds us, and of course the problem is that we hear these songs. We've been hearing these songs now for ages, or for decades at least, and it loses the impact. We hear the song, but we don't hear it anymore, and it's the same as it ever was. It's the same as it ever was. Now, let's just end, because we already got 19 minutes here. Not that time matters. Time isn't holding us up. Or is it? I don't know. But same as it ever was. Is this moment different than any other moment? Right here and now. Let's talk about a song like this. This song is going to be around for a long time. It's already stood the test of time. It's part of the Western canon. It's part of the classic rock canon, and it's one of those songs that is like, you know, it's the star to hitch your wagon to. It's gonna be around for a long time, because it gets at these deeper issues that we all face, and it's timeless in that it these things are going to be with us for a long time. You know, the things that it brings up here, and just to touch on that one thing about same as it ever was. You know, this moment, we like to think that the moment we live in is somehow different than any other moment in history, or you know, that maybe that we're more evolved, and that things are somehow, you know, imminently going to change, or the apocalypse is coming, or the world peace is coming, or or things are somehow different. In any way that you might want to look at that, you know, I mentioned those things, but it could be anything, and David Byrne is there to remind us, no, it's not indifferent. It's still the same. Everything is still the same as it's always been. And that's you know, that takes you into a deeper understanding, you know, of the Maya, which is the illusion, all the illusions that are in the way of us seeing reality as it truly is, and seeing that nothing, you know, this, we are in the eternal moment, and if you are open to it, this is all that is. This is as good as it gets, and this is the same. It's the same in this moment as it ever was, is, and will be, and therein lies our salvation. So thank you to the Talking Heads, and thank you also to David Byrne for crafting the words, the soundtrack to our life. Rock on.